This marks the 6th part of this manga. If you haven't viewed the previous parts, you can access it by clicking the I button located above, or the link is provided in description. Let's begin our recap video for today's manga. The previous part of the manga concluded when Sima Jin said, "I will see about that." Manager of White Tiger Corp thought to himself, "Thoughtless bastards, what have they done in only a day of coming back?" And read a letter. Multiple White Tiger Corp members were lying down near the Nak-san manor. I think the team leader's name was Chiel Lang, and thought to himself, "If the fight between the sons starts inside here, we'll all be dead." He said, "What is all this?" and thought to himself, "There's no one who lost their life. They've exquisitely broken just their joints with grappling hand." And asked, "Who were you had been fighting with? Say as it was, right now?" Sunwoo said, "That's it was a young woman and a child." Manager asked, "A young woman and a child? Chiel Lang? Where is Chiel Lang?" Sunwoo replied by saying, "Team leader. His meridians were struck, and we were unable to undo it with our skills." Manager thought to himself, "If Chiel Lang got his meridians struck, it means they're at the very least above commander level." And he said, "Quickly clean this up for now, and head to the martial school. If you want to live, you'll have to make sure what happened today stays a secret." Sunwoo asked, "Will there be no revenge for us?" Manager said, "You what? Revenge? When the entirety of the White Tiger Corp heads were nearly lopped off. They've only let you live to prevent further deaths. This wasn't them showing you mercy. Be thankful that you are still alive, and it will be best for you to pack your belongings as soon as you return." And thought to himself, "A young woman and a child? Did they use face-changing technique? The spars last time, and what happened today? Much stronger people than I thought are behind the 7th son. There's no way it's the great cult leader, right?" Gong Bokjin said, "A great move. Great cult leaders' moves are truly offensive and hard to predict." Myung-jung asked, "So, did you find it out?" Gong Bokjin replied by saying, "They claim it was an accidental action by the White Tiger Corp Team 2 leader, Chiel Lang." Myung-jung thought to himself, "So it was not something staged by the 3rd. That's a relief." And asked, "And the person who took them down?" Gong Bokjin said in reply, "That's the strange part. They said it was a young woman and a child. For now, we should view this as Sok clan helping." Myung-jung said, "Check the Violet Light group." Gong Bokjin asked, "What? Isn't the Violet Light group somewhere great cult leader personally manages?" Sok Bai Yeon said, "Great cult leader, it's Bai Yeon." Myung-jung replied by saying, "For you to come all the way here, something must have happened." Bai Yeon said, "Things broke out in Sichuan province." Myung-jung asked, "If it's Sichuan province, is it June?" Bai Yeon said, "Apparently the 5 Dragon School self-opened by Yinghu from the Qingcheng sect was completely annihilated." Gong Bokjin thought to himself, "We have no chance of winning if both Qincheng and Imei step in. Roads leading to Qingchai and Zizang should already be blocked too." And he said, "Please pull the army back to Guizhou province immediately." Myung-jung said, "You are thinking of running away first?" Gong Bokjin said, "There's no chance of winning." Myung-jung replied by saying, "There's a proverb of one who tied the knot must be the one to untie it." Bai Yeon thought to herself, "This means the 4th should take responsibility for what happened, and pay for it with his life on the battlefield." Myung-jung said, "Let's stop here for today." Gong Bokjin said, "Great cult leader, it is time to plan for cleanup at the moment. I will find a clever scheme if you leave it to me." Myung-jung said in reply, "No. This is the duty of the Myung clan. Leave it to Chen." Gong Bokjin thought to himself, "This is it for the 4th son. The oldest son now has the opportunity." Few days later, Nak-san Manor main house. Kong Hwan said, "My apologies for causing you worry lately." Woon asked, "What worry? I'm glad that you've recovered quickly." Kong Hwan replied by saying, "The quick recovery pill was very helpful, and as Director Jae-yong helped with the Western Quarters duties, I was able to fully focus on recovery. It's all thanks to young sir consideration." Woon said, "Compared to all you've accomplished, it's nothing." Kong Hwan asked, "So, was the gold string pill effective?" Woon said, "Effective, huh?" and thought to himself, "My body is multiple times lighter than before. It's possible to do one of the 5 greatest light body techniques of the divine cult, the heavenly mountain steps, and while its power is yet lacking, I can do the heavenly dragon palm as well? Woon said, ahem, I can't say that there was no effect. Kang Ha-won said, what a relief. Aren't you looking a bit taller as well? By the way, there was some news in the damning palace. Did you hear the news of the fourth son? Woon asked. Fourth brother is at the Sichuan province, is he not? Kang Ha-won said. The fourth sir had annihilated a branch of the Qingcheng sect, and declared war on the Murim Union. Woon thought to himself, Sichuan province was the Murim Union's land for generations. Is he planning to jump into a fire covered in hay? Kang Ha-won said, sorry to say this, but before fourth sir left for the battlefield, there were rumors that third sir visited Sichuan. Woon continued with his thoughts. Was he restless enough to fall for third brother's trap? He was so full of suspicion and anxiety. How foolish. And asked, and the second news is? Kang Ha-won said, White Tiger Corp Team 2 went back to Mongolia, and they had a physical clash with some group and Woon interrupted and said, let's pass that news. Next? Kang Ha-won said in reply. Next is, the Gizhusok clan sent silvers. Woon said, just as we're about to forget them they send their regards. How much did they send? Kang Ha-won said with a smile, 1,000 liang. Where should we use this money? Woon thought, an amount that's hard to say it's too much or too little. Honestly, there's no worry for profit for the time being. All thanks to Nak-san Manor. Kang Ha-won said. It'd be nice to fix up over here, and we could put a bookshelf here as well. Woon thought to himself, we will need time, but as for the doctors and the medicine house, we have no worries since we have Choya. The only thing that's left is weapons. Oh, now that I think about it, there was him? And he said, Director Kang, let's head to the Wu clan village. Kang Ha-won asked, what? Right now? Woon said, yes, hurry up and get ready. Moments later, Wu clan village. Woon said, it's a beautiful village. Kang Ha-won replied by saying, apparently they used to raise cattle a lot, but nowadays farming is their main work. Woon said, since it's near the White Tiger Corp, it should be under their management, right? Kang Ha-won said, that's correct. Though, what kind of a person is Kyumsok that you are hurrying your steps this much? Woon said, an artisan who makes weapons. And thought to himself, I have never seen him myself actually. Two children are playing and saying. One child said, take this. Other asked, is that all you got? Woon said, just on time. Hey kids, let me ask you a question. Does a blacksmith named Kyumsok live in this village? Child said, Kyumsok? I dunno. Never heard of him. What's a blacksmith? Other child said, you dumbass? It's someone who makes sides with metal. The first child said, Wu Song Ajas he? Woon thought to himself, Wu Song? Not Kyumsok? Child said, if you go all the way down this road, there's a smithy run by Pine Tree Ajas he. Kang Ha-won asked, Pine Tree Ajas he? Child said, yup, that Ajas he doesn't come out of the smithy whether it rains or snows. Woon thought to himself, is he living while hiding his name? I'll have to check it myself. Kang Ha-won asked, anybody here? Woon said, there's someone inside. Wu Song asked, what is it? Woon asked, are you Wu Song? He said, that's right. Woon asked, do you happen to know an artisan named Kyumsok? Wu Song replied by saying, no, there isn't anyone named that in this village. Woon said, is that so? Do you also happen to make weapons? Wu Song said, I don't work with those things. I'm busy, so please leave now. Kang Ha-won said, hey, you didn't even listen for detail. Woon said, sorry for the intrusion. Let's leave. Kang Ha-won said, why is he so rude? Wu Song thought to himself, to think they know the name Kyumsok, who are those people? Kang Ha-won asked, did we come to the wrong house? Woon replied by, who knows? Two old men talking to each other. The one that behind him said, I told you, you should have already asked Wu Song. He would have done it for free. Why would you go all the way over to the next village? Other turn around, replied by saying, I said, Wu Song was sick that day. Woon said, excuse me, may I ask a question? Is that Wu Song person really that skilled? The men on the right said, what can I say? You know how nice he is as well? Other said, obviously he can fix things. And the farming tools he makes don't even rust that easily either. Woon asked with a smile, then, is Wu Song good at making swords or spears? Old men said, no, Wu Song does not make weapons. Woon asked, why is that? Old man said, that's because it was better when we used to raise cattle. But the divine cult took away all that cattle. Other said, watch your mouth. If you want to live your entire lifespan, why talk about someone else without their consent? I don't know if we can say this, but Wu Song's dream from his childhood was to become an artisan who made weapons. But after he joined the battlefield with his father and brother, only he survived. And so, after coming back to this village, he never made a weapon. Woon said, that's what happened. Kong Ha-won asked, what should be the best course of action? Woon said, we'll have to follow the law of the divine cult in the divine cult. Director Kong, could you head over to the White Tiger Corp right now? Moment later, Woon said, I've got a request for the Kumsok of the Wu clan village. Wu Song said, what is it again? Didn't I already say that person doesn't exist? Woon said, you didn't even flinch. Wu Song replied by saying, you think a blacksmith would be scared of iron? Woon asked, even still, are you saying you don't value your life? Wu Song asked, what? Are you saying a lowly peasant's life is valuable? And thought to himself, his movement is fast and concise. He wasn't a normal person as I thought. Woon said, I've heard that you stopped making weapons because of reasons. If you have talent, shouldn't you use it where it's beneficial for the world? I need a person to make weapons for me. Wu Song said, beneficial? I don't make iron that hurts people. If you wish to take my life, go ahead. Woon asked, what benefits will I have by taking your life? If you do not make a weapon for the next month, I won't bother you anymore. However, if you make a single weapon in that period, you'll have to follow my will. Wu Song laughed and said, it's a conviction I've kept for dozens of years. If it's that kind of a bet, I'm fine with doing it for not just a month, but 10 or 100 years. Woon said, all right. Bet that conviction of yours and keep your promise. Few days later, Wu Song said, old Sit, what is this? Old man said, I've simmered a snake head soft. Have some healthy food before the summer comes. Wu Song asked, I'm thankful for that, but why so suddenly? What's all this? Other people saying, I've some beef here. I've got rice. I made some rice cake. Old man said, I know well you hate it when it comes to weapons. But could you take a look at this? Wu Song said, okay, but why are you asking something like this so suddenly? The old man replied by saying, the White Tiger Corp ordered a conscription to this village. My grandson who's only 14 years old now has to go out to the battlefield. Other person said, my 40-year-old son is leaving too. She said, my grandson as well? Wu Song asked, conscription? Old man in front of him said, since I can't stop it as I'm a grandpa now, at the very least I would like to fix their weapons before sending them. Wu Song asked, but are they not even giving out weapons while sending someone to the battlefield? Old man replied by saying, they said they're lacking supplies. I heard it's going to the border. Wu Song thought to himself, the border is where my father, brother, and I went. If civilians go, they'll only end up as a meat shield. So this was it. How cruel can they be?